I'm Stephanie Gerber, founder of Hello Glow and mother of 3. After becoming a stay-at-home mom, I began my journey into natural beauty, and now I get to teach other people how to incorporate natural, cost-effective beauty routines at home. When I got out of college, I was a PR major, and I went back to graduate school and got my MBA, and that's where I met my husband. I had my first child, Caroline, in 2007. And then I got pregnant with number 2, and I was like, this isn't gonna work. At the time, we were paying quite a bit in childcare. I decided to stop working full-time and become a stay-at-home mom. I definitely went through my mom phase where everything has to be homemade. I don't think I had ever eaten a butternut squash before I had kids. And I quickly realized, I can't sustain all of these things. So while I may not cook from scratch, I want the things I'm putting on my baby's skin to be natural. Recipe creation was never as intuitive to me as the beauty stuff was. And it was just more fun. I remember I had wanted to buy a scrub and it was like $30. You realize, well, I've got some sugar at home and this will literally take 2 minutes to put together. And so this became my way of taking care of myself without spending outrageous amounts of money. I can keep buying Epsom salt versus crazy expensive fancy bath salts. That was one of the reasons I started the blog. I was kind of doing it as an outlet. The mission of Hello Glow now is about bringing recipes and do-it-yourself projects that are simple, attainable, inexpensive, that people can do at home to feel good inside and out. I sort of see the self-care for moms as a way to reclaim a little bit of your identity. If you feel good about who you are, I think that carries over into being a better parent because you have filled your own cup, per se. It was challenging because I didn't know anything about putting a website up. I just sort of stumbled my way through it. I know that I was lucky that I had a husband who would watch the kids on the weekend while I was making projects. Before I started a business, I was very checked out of our family finances, but I think taking my business seriously led me to taking my personal finances more seriously. When I started thinking of myself as a business, I started having to be a little more diligent about this is what my overhead looks like now. I had to understand what I am spending and what I'm bringing in and what can we grow, and a little bit of reserve that I always want to have in my business account. Oh, that would be probably a good idea to do in my personal account as well. I was definitely fortunate that the money that I made with my blog, I could either save or reinvest because my husband was making enough money that we didn't necessarily need the additional income. But eventually, in 2019, we separated. And so at that point, it was I'm going to have to make this blog my actual income and live off of what I earn. Right as I was getting divorced in 2019, we literally lost half of our traffic. And I feel lucky that 2 years now, I have been supporting myself and my family with just my income. And that feels super empowering. Not only can I make these things and save us money, but now I feel okay, I have skills and things that I can bring to the table. It just kind of gives you a little bit of confidence to attack the next thing. I've been doing this for 10 years and you could have your entire beauty routine be baking soda and oil and apple cider vinegar. Washing your face and toning your face and moisturizing your face, and that cost you maybe $15 and lasts a long, long time. When you work from home and it's basically your job is so connected to your home, I think I struggle to separate the two sometimes. And I make enough money that I can have somebody be with my kids for part of the day while I try to get some work done. It's really difficult to work when your children are at home. And so you have to kind of come up with a plan for that. And the second thing I would say is figure out a way to involve your kids, because there's that push-pull of being a mom, but also being, your own boss. And so you have to kind of find a way to engage them. Definitely DIYing has made me more cost efficient, and learning how to use your resources so you're not wasting a lot of time and money on things is super empowering. When you start doing things oh, I can make soap. These things are skills. And I think the more skills you can learn just gives you more confidence. My advice for moms, you have to kind of be willing to try new things and fail. At the end of the day, you just do the best you can. The thing that you learn over time is that you can trust yourself and that it will all be okay.